Hi everyone. So today I'm going to make a video on my perspective of Andrew Luck situation and his sequence of injury from my perspective as an orthopedic sports medicine specialist, a physical therapist that does this all the time. And so I'm going to hopefully explain it in a way that makes understanding to you of a biomechanical perspective and how it impacts, because this biomechanical perspective happens a lot earlier before things start to scream pain or injury, inflammation. And then from a movement perspective of how the kinetic chain is linked, how his shoulder is connected possibly to his recent 2019 calf situation or osteotrigonal bone situation, or what they're talking about of high front ankle. Maybe is a source. Nothing's conclusive because it's held as secret within the Colts organization for good reason. And then from a holistic, osteopathic, my specialty is manipulating other structures, tissues, specifically organs in the cranium. And so now, what has happened to Andrew Luck? So don't quote me on the dates because I'm going off memory, and it's on the video, so it makes high pressure stakes. So 2015, first thing I believe is he complained about right shoulder throwing in pain to his right shoulder. Now afterwards, later on, I think November 2015, he admitted there was fractures to his ribs. So where the cartilage and the ribs kind of meet. So then, so he missed a couple games with that, and then there's a undisclosed rib issue, and then down, I think in November, this is when it came out, is he had laceration to his kidney and an abdominal injury. Then after that, he tried to go back, play. But in 2017, he had shoulder labral surgery. So unsuccessful or not what he wanted. 2016, shoulder rehab. So a labrum, and having surgery to the labrum, from my perspective, indicates there's an inefficiency between the joint and the muscle interplay of the shoulder and the functionality, how you use the shoulder to throw. Okay? So then now, so 2018 was good, all right? So this is where you can't really predict it, and the body's amazing at being adaptable, resilient, and modifying to a situation based on certain factors, hopefully I'll get to in this video. And he had comeback of the year, but now beginning in 2019, season hasn't started, but he's dealing with left, the opposite ankle, leg, lower leg, calf strain, they say. Now they're finding osteotrigonal is a bone that some people have, extra bone that's located near the Achilles tendon, and they're saying because he has pain there is impacting the function and the feeling, discomfort that he's feeling. And then now, as to date, talks about like maybe the source is actually at the front of the ankle. So let's talk about biomechanics, because this is so important and it's missed in a lot of clinician and management, because it's not what is technically the part that's screaming pain, but all joints work this way. All right, so because of his ankle, we'll talk about the ankle, but it happens at the shoulder and all the joints. All right, and so joints, all right, helps provide framework and production of movement based on this framework. So each joint has a room, an area of where it can move, right? And the shoulder is the most mobile joint. And so it has to do this really well, really well. And based on your goals, the timing, this intensity, the speed, and the power production, right? At low level or high level. So his joint has only like a zone where it can move safely, right? Not safely where it is the healthiest, right? Where it doesn't get enough stress, because you have to be tricky what you say, all right? Because the body's so amazing. That's why I'm being careful with my words. So from there, so the joint can only move at a very safe range, healthiest range. And so a lot of times with trauma, then or inefficiency or imbalance or improper nervous system inputs, then it moves too much. So that becomes micro movement. So micro movement, right, at the joint level, with compression or not, causes shearing stress. Whether it's one plane, two plane, or three planes, then that's a different story. So muscle helps to support and limit that. And then there's passive tissue like ligaments and capsules and fascia that help to limit that even more. But the passive tissue is what causes extra motion from happening, right? So then the muscle, remember, muscle bosses help the joint to move and bone to move, skeletal system to move. So now we're talking about muscle. So muscle gets into situation of tendonitis, tendinopathy, tendinosis, whatever you want to call it. It's all semantics, but muscle contractile issue. And so muscle is working harder because muscle only becomes problematic when it works too hard, right? And also technically if it can't relax and shut down, you get that tension, but that's a different story. So right now the muscle is working too hard, okay? So either at the joint level or the muscle level, then arthritis is when you get too much, more than what the cartilage in the joint likes, then it screams pain, and so that's arthritis or joint condition. So now that's a joint perspective. So to have healthy biomechanics, you want control within the zone at all time, at whether you're moving fast, at the timing you want. Okay, so then now we're talking about muscle helping support the joint in the neutral zone. Then you have muscles. There's two types of muscles. There's small movers and there's big movers. That's what I say to my clients, okay, my patients, right? So you get technical phasic tonic, you put it as global and spinal stabilizers, but basically you have these more muscles, small movers that help to spare the joints. Postural muscles, it helps, and it's always technically on at a low level to help spare our joints. Then there's big movers, the power movers, the biceps, the pecs, the quads, the hip flexors, the quadratus laborum, the upper traps. All those are big movers. They compress joints if you don't have a foundation of small movers. So there's a nice orchestra that's happening constantly if you're sitting, standing, moving between the two, all right? And so you need a foundation of small movers to have big movers to work efficiently. Okay, so then that's where the labrum comes into, because I say bicep is a big mover. So bicep connects to the labrum. It keeps tugging because it's working too hard. There's not a lot of small movers, stabilizers to protect it. Joints moving too much, and you get this abutment towards the front of the shoulder, causing labral issues. And if you don't get that dialed in and dosing and execution, then you get the labrum surgery. All right. So same thing at the ankle. Right now, 2019, calf stuff, bone stuff, to talk about all that. You have to manage both to address all three. Okay, because there could be some truth to all three or one or the other, but you have to manage the joint, muscle, and the play of the muscle to spare the joint. Now, movement perspective. So abdominals. So there's a couple things I want to bring up. Spine needs to happen first before you use your limbs well, right? Your spine's role is to conduct force from the leg to the technically opposite arm, up and down. It's force conduction, all right? So things move up and down, and then up and down, up. And second, to prepare so that you can have this spine first, limbs second. So it's done preparatory. So it happens before you even move the muscle. That's what research is showing. And so that happens through our sensory input. So what we see ahead, what we feel, our balance system and our ear system feel in preparation, then our spine kicks in before we even move, and then we get this harmony between spine and limb to move, to throw a ball, to hit, to do what you need to do. So his abdominal injury impacts that. So I like to make an assumption that he does have good force efficiency, spinal stability, and the interplay between small movers and big movers. And so this is impacting from head to toe. Alright, so we just got to get that going in, dialed in. So then lastly, the one that I think not a lot of people understand, and I want to bring more appreciation, so maybe I should have done this at the beginning, but the organ. So the organs is crucial to this conversation because of two things. One is the body is good at protecting what is important for survival first, so that's an organ. We need that. Muscle, skeleton are luxury in this living, the ability to live. And then second is on top of survival, the organ mechanically, if like a quad gets injured, the tissue becomes stiff. Then we have to massage it and treat it out. So there's structural and then function. So people always talk about function and for muscle skeleton to do well in structural, but in terms of organ, we forget that there's structure that needs mechanical enhancement, TLC too. And so the kidneys, it had laceration, so say if they're treating the functionality of the internal organs, but you forget that there's a structural part. So that's one thing I think that needs help to help in terms of survival, get that dialed in. Then the body can allow force conduction, abdominal recovery, and function for limbs to work well. All coming down towards the kidney. And if you go here, all right, so this is just an example. It's a fascia of the organs. You can see here's the kidney. You can see around the kidneys, and here's the spine here, how these layers of fascial connection are around the kidneys, next to the spine. All right, so what I'm trying to say is not about the detail of which one it is, and it's about everything works together. So say now the kidney isn't moving well, the kidney needs to move about 4 inches up and down when you breathe and move. That's not happening. Then the diaphragm around it, all right, doesn't move well, okay? And so you don't get efficient breathing and core force conduction. And then the whole neighborhood starts to get kind of sluggish, you know, it's not getting its garbage thrown out, and the neighborhood starts to become noisy, gossiping, and toxic, I guess. And so now the core doesn't move well, the diaphragm doesn't move well, kidney doesn't move well, and then you have this inefficiency. So why does he become comeback player of the year 2018? Now that's where we can predict it, and that's where sleep, nutrition, mental health, and physical training all needs to happen and dial it in, and to allow you to have the best chance to be above a certain sensory signal. Like so if your body gets above that sensory signal, then you can overcome a lot. But if you are below that, then you're more likely, more sensitive to things, vulnerable to things. And so, you know, testament to him being an athlete, he's overcome through everything I've talked about, you know, to become comeback player of the year. But at some point, it wears on him, and it's for consistency. The key is consistency. You can overcome it, but consistently things catch up. And so that's where now we're talking about ankle, because his core is not efficient. So limbs has to work harder, and so you get in the calf complex, working hard, overload. So you get the muscle, the joint. That's where it's very hard to really pinpoint what it is. But you know, easier said for me to stay in the sideline and make these hypotheses, but this is for fun, and it just gives you insight of the importance of understanding. Now the science research gives you a framework for conditions to work from, but research doesn't do well connecting dots because it has to look at one variable, one thing, and then confirm it. So it gives me a structure, I use that, but then there's art. So there's science and there's art. Art's understanding these data, collecting it, moving it fluidly for assessment, all right, communication, motivation, influence towards a treatment with my hands, feeling it in multi-direction, and then for results, and then execution. So hopefully you have fun, and if you like it, I'll make more videos of this.